Greetings and blessings to all of you. I want to talk today about the upcoming powerful full moon on March 7th and Saturn's movement into Pisces. March will be a very powerful time in terms of the transits and energies that we will be experiencing, particularly with Saturn's movement into Pisces. And on March 23rd, Pluto will be making its first pass into the sign of Aquarius. So this is an incredible transition time. And these energies of this full moon and of these profound transits are guiding us in how to be in this accelerated time of healing and transition and transformation. And as we're feeling the intensity of that and some of the turmoil of these profound shifts that are happening that we're experiencing globally, I want to say again how deeply grateful I am for this community and the level of consciousness and compassion and the ways in which we are supporting each other and being there with and for each other in this profound time. I think that's so crucial as we're in this accelerated time, that we be in healthy, healing community with each other, to be holding the energies of higher consciousness, to support each other in this transition time, and to be holding that higher consciousness and healing energy for the collective. And let's look at the powerful energies of this time. Here is the chart of the full moon, with the moon at 16 degrees of Virgo, the sun at 16 degrees of Pisces. And you can see that at the exact time of the full moon, Saturn is in its very final degree of Aquarius, and within an hour of the exact time of the full moon, Saturn will move into Pisces. You can see that Pluto is also in its final degree of Capricorn, preparing for that first pass into Aquarius on March 23rd. And as I've said many times in my videos, I do believe that Pluto represents the evolution of our soul selves, both individually and collectively. And as it's moving into Aquarius, it is guiding us individually and collectively into our evolution and movement into the Aquarian age, which I think we're being more fully guided into as Pluto goes fully into the sign of Aquarius in November 2024. But from March of this year up until November of 2024, Pluto will be moving back and forth between the final degrees of Capricorn, dipping into Aquarius, going back into Capricorn until its final full transition into Aquarius, November of 2024. It will also be incredibly significant, and I'll talk more about this in an upcoming video, that as Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius on March 23rd for its first pass into Aquarius, it will be squaring the lunar nodes, which continue to be South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus. For Pluto to be squaring the lunar nodes is a karmic choice point. It's a time of profound transformation. Pluto, the planet guiding us through a death rebirth, through that alchemy of transformation, to release what we need to release, to come into the true gold of who we are. I truly believe that we have the capacity for this Aquarian age to be a time of radical transition into paradigms that allow us to make healing shifts globally that are about moving into a golden age, moving into a time of harmony, of peace, of higher consciousness, of being in collaborative, caring community with and for each other. This is the potential of the age of Aquarius. And we are at a critical choice point. These transits are not deterministic. They are guiding us in our own process of growth and evolution. And we can choose how we engage with these energies. And this Pluto square with the lunar nodes is saying it's time to make that choice. And we can choose the path of life, of healing, of transformation, of higher consciousness, or we can choose a path of increasing self-destruction. As we're in this incredible transition time, this full moon and Saturn's movement into Pisces are supporting us in how to work this liminal time, how to be in this transition in a conscious way and in a way that is a path of healing, of movement into wholeness. This is profoundly seen in all the energies that are in Pisces at the time of this full moon. Remember that within an hour of the full moon, Saturn will move into Pisces. So then we'll have Saturn, Mercury, the Sun, Neptune, all in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is that energy of releasing what we need to release, to come into a deeper connection with spirit, to remember the oneness of all that is, our interconnectedness with all of the life around us. Pisces supports us in releasing what we need to release to be on that path of healing and transformation. And the moon in Virgo is about then, how do we live that out in our day-to-day lives? How do we have that compassion of Pisces and that deep connection with spirit that we can then live in how we interact with each other and how we live in an embodied way in our day-to-day lives. And the meaning of the Sabian symbol of the moon at 16 degrees of Virgo is about the importance of releasing emotional blocks to be on a path of healing and transformation and to deepen in our self-awareness. This full moon is guiding us in how to heal, how to release what we need to release, how to deepen our connection with our soul selves, with spirit, so that what we're manifesting is about being on a path of healing and being of service to others. I'll come back in a few minutes and talk about the powerful T-square with Mars. But this theme of healing is reiterated in the chart of this full moon, in that Hygeia is now conjunct in an out-of-sign conjunction with Pluto and squaring the lunar nodes. Hygeia, the goddess of health and healing, is about how are we healing. And Hygeia is very much about how are we healing on the physical level, as well as this full moon guiding us on how we're healing on the emotional level. But I think it's also significant that Hygeia is in the sign of Aquarius, guiding us also in looking at how are we healing in community, Aquarius. And in its square with the lunar nodes, Hygeia is applying to the South Node in Scorpio, meaning we're on that path of healing physically, emotionally, in how we are in community, if we look at what is buried deep within us emotionally, Scorpio, if we face what has been in the darkness, if we bring what's been in the shadows into the light of consciousness. And I truly believe we're in an accelerated time of increasing disclosure in our collective, in our global community about what's been hidden in the shadows, what's been out of balance, what's been destructive, what's been abusive, that's needing to come to the light of consciousness in order to heal, in order for us to be Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn, releasing these systems and structures, power over abusive, exploitive dynamics that are about our being out of right relationship with each other, out of right relationship with the earth. All of that is being called into our awareness so that we can heal and transform. And that's echoed in Chiron's being in the sign of Aries. And here it's conjunct Jupiter, it's conjunct Venus. Chiron and Aries guiding us in how we're healing our sense of self. Aries, Chiron is also trying to heal how we act and how we express ourselves. Aries is very much about our energies, our actions, our will, our sense of self. And it is guiding us in how we're healing that, and then healing how we are in relationship in its conjunction with Venus. And Jupiter in Aries is continuing to guide us to have faith that we can move into these new forms that are more healing, are more in balance. But again, with these energies of the full moon, we can choose how we work with them. And when you have a lot of energy in Aries, if it's being acted out in an unconscious way, in an out of balance way, it then can be being in relationship in ways that are wounding, acting out Aries. With all this energy in Pisces, being caught in illusions or feeling overwhelmed emotionally or caught in victimization. All of these shadow sides are what can play out not only with the energies of this full moon, but with Saturn's movement into Pisces. Let me show you that chart. So an hour after the exact full moon, Saturn moves into 0 degrees of Pisces. And then we have all of this energy in the sign of Pisces. And I do believe that this energy with Saturn moving into Pisces is supporting us in being on this path of being grounded, Saturn, in our spirituality, Pisces, standing firm in our compassion for ourselves, for others, remembering and staying firmly aligned with our understanding of oneness, with our connection with our soul selves, and with the source of all that is, with cosmic consciousness. But if played out in an unbalanced way, in the shadow side of Saturn and Pisces, Saturn is where we encounter our challenges and can experience some of the tensions of how we are in embodied form. And Saturn is also about how we bring things into form in community, in our societal systems. So if out of balance, Saturn and Pisces can mean globally staying caught in illusions, staying in fear and in experiences of overwhelm or feelings of powerlessness. On the individual level, it can be feeling overwhelmed with emotions, with fear, with anxiety, with guilt, with feelings of victimization and helplessness. It can be about a longing for escapism or being more mired, Saturn, in addictions or illusions or projections onto others. So we are really going to see probably the full spectrum of the manifestations of Saturn in Pisces, particularly in these early times of its movement into Pisces, where that's getting activated more fully in the collective, but for us individually. So again, this time is a choice point. We can choose how we work with these energies. And Saturn in Pisces can support us, again, those of us who are awakening, who are holding this time with compassion and the frequency of higher consciousness, then this can support us in staying even more grounded in that and even more fully aligned in our connection with spirit, in our openness to the wisdom and the love of cosmic consciousness, and how we can emanate that, live that out in our lives and in our interactions with others. And then we can be holding that energy for the collective consciousness. And again, if there's enough of us, even a minority of us, staying grounded in that alignment with spirit, with source, with higher consciousness, with love and compassion, that can change the world. Remember that powerful understanding of morphogenic fields and of the way in which we can hold that energy in a way that will transform the energy of the collective consciousness. This is a critical choice point. I also think that as Saturn moves into Pisces, it's not only giving us a sense of what's shifting on the collective level, what's shifting and what we're being guided to work on the individual level, but we're also going to be seeing and experiencing the earth changes that are going to continue to be guiding us through this transition time. At the time of this full moon, Hygeia is in a trine with Ceres, our Earth Mother. And I do believe that the Earth herself is in a time of healing and transformation. We're experiencing increasing CMEs right now, coronal mass ejections, that send these waves of plasma, of solar energies to the Earth that are a part of the transformation of the Earth. Remember, as Robert Temple talked about in my conversation with him, plasma is the energy of cosmic consciousness. So we're getting these inflow of energies, bringing new awareness, heightened consciousness to us. And these energies also, these coronal mass ejections, can impact the Earth and cause increasing storms and also activate earthquakes. And in this time where the Earth herself is in profound transition, we need to hold and support each other as we're experiencing these increasing storms and earthquakes. We need to continue to send our compassion, healing energy, and active support to the people in Turkey and Syria, and to all of those who are in suffering in this time of intense transition, with the shifts happening in our global community and with the shifts happening with the Earth herself. So all of this is intensifying as we move into March and experience this full moon and Saturn's movement into Pisces. It's also significant that Uranus is actively involved in this full moon, in a trine with the moon, sextile with the sun. It's very much guiding us to gain greater clarity about what we're needing to release, to gain clarity about what we need to work in terms of those emotional blocks or those issues that we need to heal in ourselves to be more fully on this path of transformation and movement into higher consciousness. And Uranus in Taurus is also our need to remember natural law, our deep connection with the earth, Taurus, with the way in which what our riches, Taurus, our resources are ultimately about our being in right relationship with the earth, not exploiting her, not destroying her, not feeling like we are superior to the life forms around us, but how we can come back into an understanding of natural law and what it means to be in balance and harmony with each other and with all the life around us. In my conversation with Mandara Cromwell, she spoke beautifully about the importance of being in that right harmony with nature, with the seasons, with the energies of the life around us, and how that relates to how then we can be these temples of healing energy emanating that for the world. Uranus in Taurus is also about the way in which we're needing to evolve as humans into that awareness of our interconnectedness with all of the life around us. Remember Elizabeth Satorus's profound words as an evolution biologist about how all species, as they mature, remember that they thrive through that interdependence and collaboration with the life forms around them. It's not about survival of the fittest. It's not about our conquer or be conquered. We have to let go of the paradigms of power over, of our seeing ourselves as superior to all of the life around us. We are being called with Uranus and Taurus to remember that we are a part of the web of life on this planet, and we have to heal and transform and come back into right harmony. The plants and animals are trying to guide us in that. But again, this is a critical choice point, and we can continue on that path of destruction, or we can awaken and see it's time to heal. It's time to clear these blocks, let go of these illusions of our separation, of our superiority, of our power over, and come back into power with and for each other, and a deep remembrance of our interconnectedness with all of the life around us, and remembering our oneness with all that is. Pisces. And now this profound square with Mars. Mars is at 21 degrees of Gemini. The meaning of that Sabian degree is the importance of coming to understand our triggers, what activates our reactivity, so that we can move into more healthy ways of sharing our emotions and being in interaction with each other. Mars in Gemini. How are we acting? How are we communicating, Gemini? How are we interacting? How are we in community with each other? Is it from reactivity? Is it coming out of being triggered by trauma, by fear, by overwhelm, and then acting out in violent and aggressive, reactive ways? Or are we coming into deeper self-awareness and consciousness to heal, to look at what we need to face in ourselves in order to move in directions that are more healing for ourselves, holding more compassion for others, and moving into more healthy community with each other? These are profound energies. And remember, the energy of the full moon is about coming into more clarity. It is about how we are working with those energies of the new moon that were guiding us into understanding how we open to that deeper connection to our soul selves and our understanding of our oneness and our connection with cosmic consciousness, to now, as we move into this full moon, know how to manifest that, know how to work that at a deeper, more conscious level of awareness, to be on this accelerated path of healing and transformation. And let me show you where the energies are of this full moon in the sky. I had talked at the time of the new moon about how the sun and moon in those early degrees of the sign of Pisces in the chart we're actually in the sky in the stars of Aquarius. So again, the profound message of the sky is we're moving into the Aquarian age. That new moon was holding that energy of the stars of Aquarius, pouring the living waters, the wisdom, the energy of the living waters of the cosmos to us on the earth. We're being guided in how to understand that everything is energy. Everything is frequency. Everything is about our remembering our interconnectedness with all that is, and that we are moving into this time where we are becoming light beings, understanding that we are soul selves, energy beings with this capacity to embody that, to experience that in physical form in a profound way. As we work through the transformation and healing we're being called into in this time. So at the time of the full moon, the sun is in this liminal space between the stars of Aquarius and Pisces. So it's speaking to how we are in this profound liminal time as we're moving more and more towards that threshold point, November 2024, movement into the age of Aquarius. And you can see that the sun is here close to Neptune, close to Mercury, and here is Saturn. As it's moving into the sign of Pisces in our chart, it's moving into the stars of Aquarius in the sky. And remember, I believe that the visual astrology is showing us what are the deeper archetypal energies, what are the spiritual energies of these planets at this time, and then how they come through in our tropical zodiac charts is how are we meant to manifest them in the seasonal cycle, in the earthly energies that we're in this embodied reality here. So Saturn in the stars of Aquarius, how are we bringing into shape and form individually and collectively these energies of the Aquarian age? Saturn and Pisces in the chart. What do we need to release here to do that? What forms and structures, what ways of our own emotional blocks or trauma from the past do we need to release to be able to remember our oneness, connection to spirit, and come more fully into community and into these paradigms of the Aquarian age? At the time of the full moon, the moon is now under the stars of Leo, the lion. And you can see as we look at it in the sky, and remember, this is visual astrology. As we look towards the full moon, we see it between Regulus, the royal star of the north, and Spica, one of our brightest stars in the sky. Regulus is about how are we living from the heart with courage? Spica, how are we being of service to others? This full moon is showing us we're under the care of the great lion, being guided to come from the heart with courage in order to have our actions, our way of being in our day-to-day lives, be of service to others, be emanating that healing energy. Mars, part of that powerful T-square at the time of the full moon with the sun and moon, is in the stars of Taurus, conjunct the star Elnath. One of the things that I love about visual astrology is it's imagic. It's poetic. To relate to these placements of the planets in the sky, in the stars, it is about experiencing them visually, and it is about working with them in more right-brained ways of knowing and being. The gift of visual astrology in supporting us in some of the shift that's happening as we're moving into the age of Aquarius is that we're needing to become more right-brained again, to balance our right brain ways of knowing with the left brain, to no longer be locked into analytical ways of thinking that separate us from each other and from the life around us, to come back into right brain ways of knowing that are more holistic, that are more about our relationships with all that is, our empathy, our interconnectedness. But let's talk about Mars between the horns of the bull of Taurus next to Elnath. I think of Mars between the horns of the bull as the horns of the dilemma that we're in, or the choice point that we're in. And how are we going to act? What are we going to do with that? Mars. And Elnath is a very powerful star. Think about its placement right at the tip of the horn of the bull of Taurus. It is that action point, that point where the bull charges forward. So what direction are we moving in? How are we asserting our energy? How are we moving forward? And Elnath can be, again, if we work Mars next to that star in an unconscious way or an out of balanced way, it can be about charging ahead in a reactive, violent way, not caring about the outcome or the consequences, just operating from that reactivity or that aggression or a power over dynamic. We're seeing examples of that around the globe right now. And that will lead us, if we continue to allow that or continue to get caught in our own sense of powerlessness with that occurring, then that will be the trajectory that we're on the planet, and it will lead to our self-destruction. I believe this critical choice point that we're in is either about our being on a path of increasing self-destruction as a human species, in which case the Earth will reset and humanity will begin its evolutionary process all over again, as happened 12,000 years ago at this critical time in the precessional cycle. Or we can be on a path of radical healing and incredible transformation to move in to a golden age of higher consciousness, of harmony, of love, of being in right relationship with all that is. Mars next to Elnath, Mars between the horns of the bull, choice point. This is a critical choice point. And as we talk about these powerful energies of this full moon, guiding us into healing, supporting us in moving into more compassion, reminding us that we're soul selves having a human experience, we can choose how we work with those energies, and we can choose how we act. And if we work these energies consciously, we are being supported in increasing self-awareness about what blocks we need to release, what healing we need to do to clear the trauma from the past, so that we're not acting out in reactive ways, coming from being triggered and responding in a defensive or aggressive way. We can be guided then to take action with courage from the heart in a way that is healing and supportive and of service to others. Love is not passive. True love is active. True love takes profound courage to come from the heart and allow that to shape your actions, your decisions, your way of being in the world. This full moon and Saturn's movement into Pisces is supporting us in doing that deeper healing work to release what we need to let go of, to release our ego selves that do respond out of reactivity, that long for control, that want that sense of power over, that want the illusion of security by having that sense of structure and control or dominance or superiority. We're being supported to release that, to remember we're a part of the oneness of all that is, that we are interconnected with each other and with all of the life around us and with the galaxy beyond us. And as we heal and move through this transformation, supported by these energies, we can, with Saturn in Pisces, be grounded and in alignment with our soul selves, with our connection with cosmic consciousness, with our coming from the heart with compassion, and with our being able to bring those energies of healing, of higher consciousness into form in our lives individually and in our world to shape a new world together. We are in an accelerated time now, and it is speeding up as we move into March with these profound shifts. So know that it will be turbulent, and we will see the full spectrum of how these energies can play out, because there are many who are operating out of their trauma and out of their reactivity or illusions or longing for escape or overwhelm. And there are many who actually understand the profound energies of transformation that we're in and are trying to be in control of the trajectory and are trying to foster fear so that we get caught more in that sense of powerlessness, so that we then are easily controlled and accommodate the intensifying efforts for power over and control that we're also seeing globally manifesting in so many forms and ways. We are at a critical choice point, and we, in choosing to work these energies consciously, to stand firm in alignment with cosmic consciousness, Saturn and Pisces, can then be emanating that healing within ourselves for each other in a way that can transform the collective consciousness. We have the power within us to transform ourselves and together transform the world. And remember, we all chose to incarnate, to be a part of this profound transition time. May we release what needs to be released, to be birthed anew, and to participate in the alchemy of the planet into this golden age, into the age of Aquarius, that we're capable of manifesting together. May we continue to heal, to trust, to feel supported by the currents and energies of cosmic consciousness, Pisces, these energies that are coming to us from the galactic center, from our sun, from the galaxy, supporting us in being in this transformational process, this time of alchemy, of spiritual initiation and evolution, to move into a new age, to move into a new world, to move into a higher consciousness. May we continue to have courage to come from the heart and to support each other in this profound time of healing and transformation. Blessings to all of you, and blessed be.